You see? I'm a public official. So everything I do is for the public's perusement. So my job is to do the best that I can. I've not been funded. They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about. They tell you that themselves.
Katt Williams sat down for an interview 2 weeks ago, and what came out of his mouth might have signed his own exit ticket. We're not exaggerating. His eyes were darting, his voice shook at times, and for the first time in a long, chaotic career full of lawsuits, arrests, and beefs with A-listers, Katt didn't sound like a comedian. He sounded like a man who knew the walls were closing in. He warned us that the industry isn't just dangerous. It's actively hunting certain people. They are taking them out, he said. Not metaphorically. Amusingly, not career-wise, literally, and the name he dropped first was Malcolm-Jamal Warner.
If there is a God side and the other side, if there are moral things and things that are immoral, if there is this side or that side, it can't be left up to thought process. I'm an enforcer on this side.
Now let's get one thing out of the way. Everyone knows about Warner's recent passing, a tragic drowning off the coast of Costa Rica during a quiet family vacation. The headlines called it accidental. The autopsy said asphyxiation by submersion. But Katt doesn't buy it. He made it chillingly clear he believes Malcolm was silenced, and he's not alone. More than a few people inside Hollywood are whispering the same thing, that Warner, who had started pushing a more independent narrative through his podcast and private work, got caught in something deeper than a riptide. Let's look at the face Katt wore in that interview, a cocktail of rage and dread. This wasn't just a hot take, this was a warning from a man who's already survived a few brushes with the Hollywood underworld. And he didn't mince words when he turned to Warner's demise. He called it a message, assigned to the rest of the entertainers out there who might think about going off script. And what made it worse? Katt swore he's now receiving threats. Multiple, anonymous, some digital, some in person. He says he's being followed. And while we've all heard that kind of paranoia before, especially from celebs who live on the fringe, something about this one hits different. Because this time, he has receipts. And this time, someone else already turned up lifeless.
Early morning swim, he had gone out to the coastline just before sunrise, and a little after sunrise, got into the water. Not too many details about what exactly happened once he was in the water, but authorities did end up finding his body actually hundreds of yards away down the shoreline. His body was discovered in a rocky cove. It was brushed up against that.
The Malcolm-Jamal Warner case is full of irregularities if you take a hard enough look. According to officials in Costa Rica, Warner was rescued by bystanders after getting caught in a strong current. PPR was performed for over 20 minutes. Still, he was pronounced gone at the scene. But here's where it gets strange. Another man, a 29-year-old from Nicaragua, had jumped in to help. At first, we were told he was in critical condition. Then, just days later, he was discharged, fully recovered, not a scratch, not a word, no public statement, not even a name. That's when whispers of the silent witness conspiracy started bubbling up online. According to online sleuths and at least one former studio bodyguard speaking anonymously, the Nicaraguan man may have seen something in the water, or maybe just after. Either way, the rumor is he was told to keep quiet, fast-tracked through the hospital, possibly relocated, and the fact that no media outlet has even tried to interview him, that's odd in and of itself. This wasn't just some beachgoer. He was involved in the same incident that took the life of a beloved actor, someone who shaped the face of Black television in America. And yet, total silence. Why?
Oh, so unbelievable there. And Branson, I also was reading that just days ago, he had another podcast episode that was dropped, and now a lot of fans are starting to really listen to that as maybe one of his last times that you hear him.
It begs the question, was Warner's demise simply the cost of being in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or was he circling a truth the industry didn't want exposed? In the weeks before his vacation, Warner had become increasingly vocal through his podcasts, through interviews, and through the people closest to him. He was talking about legacy, about being more than Theo Huxtable. He was questioning why the media kept narrowing the Black experience into a single, reductive image. And he wasn't naming names yet, but he was stepping out of line. Katt clearly thinks that's what got him targeted, and if Warner's fate really was a hit, then Katt knows he might be next. This is a man who's said no to more money than most of us could even count, refusing what he claims were 4 separate $50 million offers. Why? To protect my integrity, he told Club Shay Shay back in January. And then he got specific. P. Diddy be wanting to party, he said. And you gotta tell him no. He laughed when he said it, but the subtext was razor sharp. Those parties, The ones the authorities are now tearing apart in court documents and sealed indictments, Katt said he was invited and declined long before they made the news.
Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
And let's not forget what was found at those raids. Tens of thousands of bottles of baby oil, illegal substances, digital devices, and enough equipment to make even seasoned law enforcement agents pause. Williams didn't just say Diddy was shady, he mocked the entire defense. He probably got it from Costco, he joked on stage, grinning wide, and then hit the punchline. Costco hit right back. We don't even sell baby oil. That's more than a joke. That's a man daring powerful people to come for him. And apparently, they might be listening. Since his now infamous interview, Katt's reportedly gone underground. No scheduled tour dates, no social appearances, his team has gone mum. But word is, he's watching his back. Multiple sources close to the comedian say he's installed new private security, changed his travel routines, and isn't sleeping at the same house for more than 2 nights, a race against time. That's how one insider described it. Not a vacation, not paranoia, but preparation. Because in Katt's mind, speaking out wasn't just cathartic, it was an act of war.
I'm one of the chosen high-ranked, know the dirt individuals, right? And so dirt responds as they should when the vacuum walks in.
Nah, come on. Are you a rapper? You rap on the side?
Clearly, sir.
He believes there's a list, not a metaphorical one, but an actual roster of people, entertainers, activists, even executives, who have either refused to play along or learned too much. And depending on who you ask, Warner may have been close to figuring something out. His new podcast, Not All Hood, was set to explore multiple sides of Black culture, rejecting the shallow caricatures pushed by the mainstream. His words, not ours. The first few episodes barely scratched the surface, but some fans swear they heard clues. Unfiltered language, symbolism. One episode even featured a cryptic quote about legacy and knowing when to walk away. Was that just poetic reflection, or was Warner preparing to take a deeper dive into uncomfortable truth? Here's where the rabbit hole deepens. Malcolm wasn't known for drama. He kept his private life very private. His wife and daughter rarely appeared in public, and aside from the occasional interview or nostalgic reflection on The Cosby Show, he kept his head down, which is why the sudden turn, the drowning, the anonymous witness, the whisper campaigns all feel so jarring. This wasn't someone living on the edge. This wasn't a known rebel. And yet, somehow, he ended up tangled in one of the strangest, most hush-hush stories of the year.
I hate to bring up the sad news, but news did break today of the untimely passing of Malcolm-Jamal Warner.
I can't believe it.
We've seen this pattern before. An outspoken figure starts making noise, distancing themselves from Hollywood's inner circle, then suddenly they go quiet, or worse. Think about others who've tried to expose the darker sides of the industry. The ones who didn't live long enough to explain what they really knew. Prince, Bobby Christina, Michael. Now add Warner's name to that list. It's not proof, but it is a pattern, and patterns don't lie, even when the official autopsy does. Now Katt is the one holding the microphone, and while some might chalk his rants up to Katt being Katt, there's an eerie consistency in what he said, who he's called out, and what's happened next. Every time he peels back a layer, someone powerful gets uncomfortable. And yet, he keeps going. Which is why the threats now feel different. This isn't just about money. This is about silence, suppression, control. And if Katt's telling the truth, even half the truth, then he may have already stepped too far.
And if the truth is involved, then I'm not even allowed to be worried. What would I be worried about? It's those that traffic in falsehoods that gotta worry about me, because I'll say something.
There are those who think this is all noise, that Warner's passing was nothing more than a tragic accident, that Katt is stirring up conspiracies to sell tickets or stroke his ego. But ask yourself, if this was all noise, why are people suddenly afraid to talk? Why is the other man from the beach still nameless? Why did Warner, a beloved, respected, scandal-free figure, become the center of such tight-lipped mystery? And why is Katt Williams, of all people, acting like a man with the countdown clock above his head? There's something insidious about the way The Cosby Show's legacy has aged. What once stood as a shining example of aspirational Black family life is now laced with scandal, legal chaos, and, if some insiders are to be believed, a sinister pattern of misfortune among its cast. They call it the Cosby curse. Quietly, but persistently, and whether you chalk it up to coincidence or something darker, the list is growing. Lisa Bonet's career strangled by industry blacklisting, Tempest Bledsoe's retreat from the spotlight, the public unraveling of Bill Cosby himself, and now Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the one cast member who kept his name clean, who stayed unproblematic, who steered clear of controversy until he vanished beneath the surface in Costa Rica and never came back up.
I've been doing this like 40-something years. But I'm in a place now where acting, and I guess I go through phases, but I'm in a place now where acting, the craft, excites me as much as it did when I was 9 years old.
Let's not forget, Warner was proud of his legacy, publicly. He stood by the cultural importance of The Cosby Show even as others distanced themselves. But behind the scenes, there were signs he wanted to reshape that narrative. He spoke often about legacy beyond Theo, about crafting something more raw, more personal, and just when he began amplifying that message, launching a new podcast that highlighted the complexity of Black identity, pushing media narratives that weren't sanitized for network TV, he suddenly ended up as the face of a beachside accident. No scandal, no warning, just silence. For those paying attention, it felt less like a coincidence and more like a correction. A removal. Some now believe Warner's passing wasn't random. It was symbolic, a message, a reminder of what happens when you try to separate your truth from the version Hollywood prefers. If the Cosby curse is real, it doesn't look like a string of misfortunes. It looks like a pattern of disappearance, disgrace, and damage control, wrapped in polite statements, autopsy reports, and glowing tributes. And while fans mourned Warner with respect and nostalgia, others whispered that he may have paid the price for being the last man standing in a fractured dynasty, built on scripted perfection and buried secrets.
For everything I'm telling you, that's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need another one. You here, get you another one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
And then there's Katt, loud, unpredictable, defiant, the exact opposite of Warner's quiet grace. But maybe that's the point. While Warner spoke through metaphor and careful interviews, Katt's been firing missiles straight into the system for years. He's called out Diddy, Jay-Z, Kevin Hart, and practically anyone with connections to the industry's elite machinery. And each time he does, there's blowback. Legal troubles, canceled shows, public meltdowns caught on shaky cell phone footage. He gets painted as unstable, difficult, dangerous. But is it all just a strategy to discredit him? To bury the man beneath a caricature? It's not the first time this tactic has been used. Several high-profile insiders have hinted that when someone refuses to play along, refuses the NDA, turns down the contract, declines the private jet party invitation, the industry doesn't just shut them out, it breaks them down, slowly, reputation first, then finances, then isolation, and eventually, if that doesn't work, silence. Katt has somehow survived all three stages, but now he's reaching the final one. He's openly claimed that he's received visits and messages warning him to stop, that he's seen shadows in his rear view. And if we believe even half of what he says, this isn't just paranoia, it's pattern recognition.
Okay. They could be a goofball. See, there's room in comedy for goofballs.
Right.
Like, we don't need everybody talking about the same stuff I be talking about.
That's what I'm saying, but I mean for you specifically.
Oh, for me specifically.
For you specifically, people follow you in that sort of vein where, yes, you're entertaining, yes, you're comedic, but also, as I mentioned earlier, you live by a specific code that is infallible to even get into your eco space.
Think about it. Williams goes viral in January for telling Shannon Sharpe he turned down tens of millions to protect his peace and his body. Fast forward a few months and one of the cleanest men in Black Hollywood turns up lifeless in a foreign country in an incident that leaves more questions than answers. Then suddenly, Katt goes dark. Limited public appearances, no stand-up specials, whispers of new security, and all the while the online rumor mill spins faster. The hit list theory begins circulating. A list of people deemed too volatile, too informed, too loose-lipped to be trusted in the long game of media control. Some names on that supposed list. Artists who've lost label support, influencers whose platforms vanish overnight, even journalists who've gone missing or changed careers abruptly. Is Katt next? And if so, what does that mean for the stories he hasn't told yet? We already know he's hinted at connections between Diddy's alleged freak-off parties and blackmail schemes. He's made references to baby oil and lies, called out strange partnerships between top execs and rising stars, and outright stated that 2024 would be the year when all the deviants catch hell. He said that in January. By March, Diddy's homes were being raided. By July, Warner was gone.
When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them.
If this is a coincidence, it's a wild one. If it's not, then we're witnessing something darker unfolding in real time, an invisible purge of truth-tellers and outliers. And Williams? He's the last one with a microphone and the guts to use it. He's unfiltered, unpredictable, and unfunded by the same machine he exposes. That makes him dangerous. But it also makes him vulnerable. and the industry knows exactly how to handle vulnerability. The psychological toll alone is brutal. Imagine knowing you can't trust your phone, your team, or your own front door. Imagine watching people you once knew disappear, go quiet, or worse. Imagine realizing that the price of your freedom is living like a fugitive in your own country. That's not comedy, that's psychological warfare, and Katt's been living it for over a decade. The lawsuits, the arrests, the PR meltdowns, all of it may have been manufactured chaos, the kind of chaos that makes it easy to erase a person when the time comes. Because the real war here isn't about talent, it's about narrative control. Who gets to speak, who gets believed, who gets remembered, and who gets reduced to a cautionary tale. The moment Warner started rewriting his own narrative, he vanished. The moment Katt started naming names, the cameras turned against him. And the message couldn't be clearer. In this business, your voice only matters as long as someone else owns the volume knob. So here we are, one man gone under suspicious circumstances, another man dangling by a thread, and an entire industry pretending it's just another coincidence. But what if it's not? What if this is the cost of truth? What if the people trying to warn us are being hunted in plain sight? If Malcolm-Jamal Warner's demise was a warning, and Katt Williams' life is now hanging by a thread, what does that mean for the rest of Hollywood? Who is safe in an industry where power, secrets, and survival are all intertwined? The truth, it seems, is far more dangerous than any of us could have imagined. Let us know what you think. Is Katt Williams next? Or is he the only one left brave enough to stand? Stay curious, stay safe, and until next time, keep your eyes open.